Today is August 10th, 2019. It is 10:15 a.m. This is Luciana Spraker representing the City of Savannah's Municipal Archives. I am interviewing William Henry Maynor for the City of Savannah's Frogtown, Yamacraw, and West Broad Street History Roundup Day project. We are conducting this interview at the Georgia State Railroad Museum, and today we will be discussing the history of the West Broad Street area and the surrounding neighborhoods. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Maynor.
Pleasure.
So let's start by having you tell us your full name.
My name is William Henry Maynor.
Great. And what neighborhood are you here to share with us today?
I was a resident of Currytown, mainly West Gwinnett Street.
West Gwinnett Street area.
Yes, I've heard of
So for those who are not familiar with Currytown, what is sort of the east, west, north, south boundaries of Currytown?
Currytown, I think, started it bordered Frogtown, and from Frogtown, I believe it extended to Anderson Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
So south of Frogtown, on the south side of Frogtown.
Yes.
Okay. When were you born and where were you born?
I was born in Savannah, Georgia, November 23rd, 1945, and I was born at home on West Henry Street. In fact, I was born right next door to Rakestraw Funeral Home, 518 West Henry Street.
Okay. And what were your parents' names?
My father's name was Frank Samuel Maynor, and my mother's name was Willie Mae Maynor.
What did they do for a living?
My father worked at Savannah Machine and Foundry, which repaired ships here at the time. My mother was just a housewife. She was a mom at home.
So was he, just this a little side note, did he work on ships related to World War II? Since he was at the machine?
I believe he was there at that time. I think he worked at Brooks Iron Works at that time. And right after World War II, he started at Savannah Machine and Foundry.
Interesting. Okay. So you were born on West Henry Street. Did you, how long were you at West Henry Street? Did you move around?
We moved from West Henry Street to West Walberg Street, 711 West Walberg Street. I remember that house. I don't remember Henry Street that well. I was just a baby. But West Walberg Street, I remember quite well. Yeah. And we lived there until 1949. And that's when we moved to 524 West Gwinnett Street.
And that would be Currytown?
Yes. All of that's Currytown.
How long did you live there?
From 1949 until 1960.
Where did you go to school when you were growing up?
I started at Maple Street School, and I was there from the first grade through the fourth grade. And the Robert W. Gadsden School was built during that time, and we transferred over to Gadsden in September of 1955. And I was there from 5th grade through 7th grade. After 7th grade, I went to College Junior High School. I was there in the 8th grade, and after 8th grade, Beach Junior High School was built right next door to Beach High School. And I had my 9th grade at Beach Junior High. And from 9th grade, I went over to Beach High. And I graduated from Beach High June 5th, 1963.
Okay. A lot of schools. Where do you live now?
I live in Savannah, One Hickory Grove Point, Savannah, Georgia. I'm just returning to Savannah. I joined the Navy right in high school. And I had a 30-year career in the Navy.
But you chose to return to Savannah?
Somebody, fate chose me. Yeah. I was married for 40 years, and my wife passed in 2007. And my daughter directed me to come to my class reunion in 2009. And I came to my class reunion in 2009, and I saw someone there that I hadn't seen since high school. And we liked each other. We were good friends in high school. And we started dating, and we were married the following year.
That's very nice. Brought you back home.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Currytown then. So you were there from 1949 to 1960. Talk a little bit about, were there important community leaders or people in the neighborhood you remember?
I don't remember exactly community leaders, but it was the story was that one of the president's wives was talking about it takes a village. Well, that's what we had. Yeah, we were considered poor. I guess you can say we were poor. But we didn't know it at the time because everybody took care of everybody. And we were disciplined by the entire neighborhood. If you did something wrong, you might get spanked. And when you got home, you got another. But it was, we were all friends. We played, we didn't have a playground, but we played in the streets. The streets were dirty at the time. And, we played ball in the streets. We had all of our activities. We made our own go-karts. We call what we call skate-mobile. We take our skates apart and made out of scooters. And we had fun. We explored the area. We sort of gallivanted all over the place. Yamacraw, Frogtown, and on out to Camp Park, and all the areas, and Carver Village when they built Cloverdale. But we lived an adventurous life. And my dad knew some of the places we ventured in. He would have killed us. We had a great life. It was fun.
Yeah. Where did you mention where your father worked? Where did some of the other people in Frogtown work?
There were some folks there. There were carpenters. One of our neighbors, Mr. Wilson, used to always lend us his tools to make our various things that we occupied ourselves with. Painters, I remember painters, Mr. Anderson.
Did anybody work for the railroad that you remember?
Yes, there was people evidently. Some worked for the city, Union Bag, or Union Camp, the Savannah Sugar Refinery. There were teachers, nurses. There were beauticians. They had beauty shops around there. Some had mom and pop stores. There were some bootleggers there too.
Doing it out in the open?
No, not in the open. But some of the cops knew what was going on, but still money under the table. But yeah, you knew where to get it. Yeah.
Were there specific churches or community resources that supported the neighborhood?
Oh yes, there was a church almost in every direction you could go. I lived right across the street from Connor's Temple Baptist Church, which is still there today. There was a Masonic Temple right across the street from my house, and there was a little church right above that. It was a Jehovah's Witness, and that same.
That told you it was all right. Yeah, it was very difficult. Good morning.
If I went west on my street, on that street, there were churches in that direction.
311.
I lived in the 500 block, which was right off the West Broad Street.
Yes,
Direction.
yeah.
There was south on West Broad Street, churches, St. Paul, Tremont Temple, Zion. Every direction, and they were open.
What were the businesses that were in the immediate vicinity? You mentioned mom and pop stores.
Oh yes. There's a Chinese owned store right on the corner of West Broad and West Side Market. We used to call it Pings, Mr. Pings. They were very nice people. They would give us cardboard boxes and make things. They knew us all by our first names. Really nice people. Around the corner there was the Savannah Pharmacy. It was across the street from the YMCA before they moved to the building that was recently torn down. There was Super Duper, which is the biggest supermarket in the area.
And then from our house when they had a crow.
We might have to find a new location. We are picking back up with our interview with Mr. Maynor, William Maynor. So we were talking about some of the businesses that were in the vicinity of Currytown that we were discussing Mr. Ping's and Savannah Pharmacy. Any other ones that you wanted to mention?
Yes, there was the place my brother used to work. It was called the Chicken Bar, and they sold some of the best French fries, and you could get a half fried chicken for about 88 cents at the time, I think. French fries, potato salad, and it was in just around the corner there on West Broad Street. There were several confectionaries, as they called them, and little grocery stores, fish markets, and Mr. Joe.
Mr. Joe was a fish market?
Yeah, Joe's Fish Market. But Mr. Joe was a nice guy. He let us go by and scoop some ice, while we were out playing. And some really neat people. Very neat.
So,
And there were bars, liquor stores, that kind of thing. In fact, there was a bar on the corner right across the street from me. And there was a sort of a sophisticated nightclub right across the street at by the YMCA. It was called Councils. And all the sophisticated guys used to go there. I had my cousin Gloria, her husband used to go there, and he was about 8, 9 years older than I am. And, I couldn't wait until I got old enough to go in there and sit with the guys. And
did you ever get to go, or was it gone by the time?
I left Savannah when I was 17, so
Missed out.
when I came back on visits, so I could go.
So you mentioned that Frogtown was to the north of Currytown. What were some of the other surrounding neighborhoods around Currytown?
Let's see. Frogtown, we go to Yamacraw, Carter Village, and then Camp Park to the south. That was basically it. We made the rounds of all of them.
So why did you leave Currytown because you graduated and you went into the Navy, or
No,
for another
I
reason?
left Currytown. Urban renewal was coming in. In fact, we were at the very edge of it, and we moved to West 42nd Street. I forgot about that.
So your family was pretty much forced to leave?
Yes. Oh, yes. Most definitely.
Did they were you a renter? Were your
A
family renter?
Renter, yes.
Okay. Who did you rent from? Your parents rent from?
Toomer Realty. Toomer. His name is he owned quite a bit of property around me.
Did the house have electricity, gas, running water, all that?
Electricity. Running water was outside.
Okay. So did you have bathroom outside then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you use chamber pots inside at night?
Yes. Yes. Very nice.
What was it like then not to have running water in the house for cooking and cleaning and things?
It was inconvenient, but it was something you became used to over the years, and you lived with it. You made it happen. It was a way of life, We knew that we were on the short end of the deal, but it was something. It was out of our hands, We used to feel ashamed of it, And as I got older, I said, and that was out of my hands. That was out of my control. It was not my fault, so why be ashamed? We learned. We moved to 42nd Street, and life got better, as far as that was concerned. But
So in your neighborhood then, were the roads paved? Not
yes,
paved?
Gwinnett Street was paved, but there were streets all around. Borough Street was not paved. Maple Street behind me, to the north of Gwinnett Street, was not paved. And we made use of them because we played football out there, But yeah, it was quite from Borough Street all the way down to, in fact, all of Borough Street was still unpaved. Borough Street, Kyler Street.
Describe the house that your parents were renting. What was it like? 1 story, 2 story?
2 story. 2 story, yeah. And it was best described as a slum. Yeah, there was plaster coming off of the wall. And it was never, from 1949 until about 1956 or 57, I believe it was, when the word was out that urban renewal was coming, Toomer fixed the house up. all the holes on the walls, painted the house. The first time it ever had paint. It was brown. You see some of the pictures you see, it was that like that. Yeah. And he repaired that house. He moved the bathroom to the back porch
Why do you think he was repairing the house?
to get more money from it.
How did your family feel about the urban renewal and what was going on?
Well, I guess my dad felt like it was an inconvenience. I think he was a good father in some ways, but he just didn't look at things like that. You know, as long as he had a roof over his head, you know. But he just never made the move. He never made the move. He was content to just ride it out until he had to.
So do you feel then it was good that it kind of forced
Yes.
your family
Oh, yeah.
to better situation?
Yes. Yes. It was overdue.
Okay.
Long overdue.
So some of the things we were curious about was in the area, did many residents have gardens, like kitchen gardens and things like that with vegetables?
The houses had adjoining porches, as you see some of these older homes. And the lady next door to me, Mrs. Hattie Hendricks, she had the prettiest garden. We had a little sidewalk, and then there was dirt on the other side between the sidewalk and the street. And she had a fence around it. And every year she'd get out there and plant a garden. And there were about, and I say in a 2 or 3 block span, there were maybe 3 or 4 houses with those. But Mrs. Hattie had the best around. Yeah, Hattie Hendricks.
What about animals? Were there people with chickens or other animals in the neighborhood?
There were some, and some, like my best friend across the street, Tommy Marshall. Tommy was a pet fanatic. Tommy had every pet there was. He would go around and capture pigeons. He had chickens. He had a turkey. He raised a turkey until Thanksgiving, and his mother cooked the turkey. And he got a guinea once, and he didn't realize that a guinea could fly. So he recaptured the guinea and clipped his wings so that it wouldn't get away. But yeah, there were chickens around. Some folks really had a lot of chickens because you hear the roosters in the mornings. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a policy shop?
Policy shop, like the numbers?
I'm not sure. They asked, what is it? I don't know what it is. They asked me to ask.
It was called Bolita. Bolita. Bolita, the numbers game. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did they have them then in the neighborhood?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I knew the family, that ran.
Who was the family?
Yeah, there's no secret around here. There's a guy by the name of William J. Bellinger, Bellinger. It's called him Sloppy. Sloppy was a very nice man. He was very benevolent. He took care of people. He had the numbers. He had a nightclub called the Flamingo Club on West Gwinnett Street, just before Stiles Avenue. And he had the numbers out there, and guys would run. People would choose a number just like then, sort of like Lotto, long before Lotto. And that's how a lot of people. My dad would play it, and he'd win here and there. But, I knew the family real well.
All right. So, what are your favorite memories of Currytown?
The people, good people, neighborly, loving. They'd help you when you were in a bind. They'd snatch you up if you were wrong, let you know. And the word sass, don't sass a grown person. I remember telling a lady said, "Good morning, son," and she'd done something and I didn't like it. And I remember saying, "What's so good about it?" She said, "Okay, young man." And my dad used to come right past her house every afternoon about 5 o'clock sharp. And she told him what I had done. And he took me back down there and made me apologize to her. And he took me back home and he wore my butt out. So that's the way things work.
So, once urban renewal came in and the homes were gone, do you feel like Currytown is a lost community or that it's still there in some way?
No, it's lost. It's the people, the values, and what was taught, the values and the respect for each other. That's lost me. What I see in the projects over there now, kids from, I won't get into the politics of it.
Okay. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share with us?
When they took out that part of the city, they took kind of the soul out of the people that resided there. Some of the friends I had there, one guy started school with me in first grade, and we're still the best friends today, and we still share the same values. You just don't have that anymore. But they're the best people, some of the best people. The values that I took all over the world with me, I learned right there in Currytown.
Well,
We didn't have the best of things, but we had some of the best things in them.
it's,
I'm appreciative. I'm so appreciative today.
okay. Well, that's, I think, a really strong note to end on. Got me a little teary eyed. Okay. Well, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover, so unless you got something else.
No, I just like to look at some of the pictures.
Yeah. Great. All right. Well, we'll end this, and thank you for sharing your memories with us today. I think it's great to hear about Currytown and that side of the west side of Savannah on the old West Broad Street. So thank you.
I was wondering when I see, West Broad Street and Frogtown and Yamacraw. Frogtown, Currytown was all.
Yes.
It was all.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet.